This should start working. Did you get to play Windbound yet?
No, haven't even booted it.
All right.
Have not booted it.
It looks like we are live.
Oh, I'm blending into the background with my red shirt.
Oh, there you go.
Which looks orange today. It must be my color settings must be all
here's
messed
what I'll
up.
do. I'll go into my background loop and I'll flip it over.
Okay, that works. Or I can go change my shirt.
No, this is faster. So just transform and then rotate 180 degrees. There we go. Now you're not blending in anymore.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I love the color scheme of this thing because it's like the Pro Controller.
It's like Super Stadia.
Yeah.
Colors as well, right?
And I don't know why it didn't occur to me to use it before, like because we had this forever, and I was like, oh, those are some really cool looking things, and I never looked at the color. Like I looked at the colors and I was like, oh, I like that blue and orange thing. That looks nice. It never occurred to me to use it for this for forever.
Oh, it's funny.
Look at all these people who are here. Hey, everybody.
Hey, chat room.
How are you guys doing today? Lots of people here having conversations. Fabian says, I'm new here. How are you? Well, we're old here, and we're doing well. Thank you for asking. Oh, yeah, I just got to shut my door. Hold on.
Okay.
I forgot. All right. Okay.
Got my Stadia controller upstairs. I was looking for it. It's not beside me. I'll have to go grab that right after this.
Mine's charging. It's charging because I use the same charging cable for my iPad that I use for my Stadia controller, and so last night my iPad was like at 10%, and I was like, okay, I got to charge that, and so this morning I woke up, unplugged them, and swapped them around. That I love USB-C. I wish everything was always USB-C forever. It's fantastic.
Yep. I agree. You don't have to plug it in wrong 3 times before you get the cable in the right way.
that's absolutely true.
Best thing about USB-C.
Yeah, and because my iPad came with like the super fast chargey thing, like the giant power brick. Everything that I plug into that charges really fast.
It's awesome.
Kevin says they had a power surge earlier. Now all their Google devices need rebooting. Oh, that's too bad. All right, Art by Committee is demanding Stadia Cats info. So Marvel was downstairs last night, threw up on the kitchen floor, and we said thank you to him for not throwing up on the carpeted floor. So
that's true. So
there you go.
That's true.
All right, let's hear about Tank and Dozer, or no?
Juno,
sorry.
We noticed Tank this morning had a little bit of red on his bib because he has a big white bib from right underneath his chin all the way down under his belly. He's like white everywhere, and he had a bit of like pinky red. So we investigated. The cats fight all the time. Well, they play fight. They don't try to kill each other.
Right.
So we're like, where did this come from? It looks like blood. I grabbed him, put him on my lap. I'm checking him out, making sure there's no cuts, scrapes, anything. There's nothing. Both cats look super healthy. Then I open up Tank's mouth, and he has one of his teeth is actually in his gum below. So it's like that would explain some things. So now we're gonna have to figure out what's happening. Is it only happening because there's some sort of swelling going on because of an injury, or are we gonna have to take him to the to the vet to get some dental work done? We're not sure, so we're going to leave it a couple days, but we were surprised with that this morning. It doesn't seem like it's hurting him, even though it looks like you have a tooth impacting gum. That's probably not a good thing, but he seems super okay. So I don't know. That was our Stadia Cats life this morning.
There you go. So there's our Stadia Cats update. And I think that, oh gosh, I almost said that we're ready to start, but I still have yet to open up Reaper. So let me get that open up.
Jacob, Avengers is $60. Yes. Well, most likely we don't have the Stadia price, but that's what it is everywhere else.
Yeah.
If you want to play early though, you're going to need to buy the $80 sets, or you're supposed to pre-order the deluxe edition. which won't be a pre-order on Stadia because Stadia doesn't do pre-orders, but that one should be available on the 1st, and you'll get to play 4 days early. Otherwise, you buy the $60 one and you play after.
Sean Vaughn, whose name rhymes like Julia Gulia, he wants to know how was Bill
Josie
and Ted.
Grossi.
My wife and I watched Bill and Ted last night. It was fun and stupid, and I liked it. And so, but it's Lloyd and I were talking about this before the show. In the U.S., you have the option to buy it. So, like, you can rent it for $20, or you can buy it for $25, which the difference between that is ridiculous. Of course, I'm going to buy it. But then Lloyd was like, "Oh, cool. Well, let me try," and it's not available in Canada.
I'm gonna see if it's available on Google Play.
Because he can rent it, but he can't buy it.
Yeah.
And thank you to Sukotronic and Ray Sherrod for the super chats. I already finished my tea, but I'll hold up a mug for you, Ray.
So Bill and Ted Face the Music on Google Play. I only have the option to rent. So yeah, it must be a US Canada thing. I can't buy it in Canada. I can only rent it up here, which stinks. That's not good.
Yeah. Well, that's not a super dino. That's a regular dino. Super dino has a cape. Has a cape. All right. I'm ready to start recording if you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let me pause this, and we'll go here. And I'm gonna hit the buttons. Excuse me. Sorry. That was rude. Welcome back to Stadia Cast, everybody. I am Bill. That's Lloyd. What's going on, Lloyd?
Not much, man. Just disappointed that I can't buy Bill and Ted 3 up here in Canada, it seems.
Oh, that does make me sad because I watched it last night. I really did like it. But if you're expecting it to be like, I don't know, like it's not an amazing film. It's just like it's a fun, dumb movie, and that's exactly what I was looking forward to. Before we get started on the show, we do record this show live. If you're listening to this on the podcast version, well, thank you very much for subscribing to the podcast. That does help. But we do record the show live on our YouTube channel, which you can find over at youtube.com/StadiaCast every single Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. So head on over there and hit the subscribe button, and all of the other buttons that people are supposed to hit on the YouTubes. If you want to directly support the show and you're here with us live, you can use the super chat feature to make sure that we see your message, just like Consino and others have just done a moment ago. If you're here with us and you're not here live, you can't use the super chat feature, but you can join. You can join and be members, which gets you access to some videos early. Get you access to the members only Discord channel, and get you access to some of the awesome emotes that we have here on the channel. And I moving on from there, let's get started with the show. We always start with the same thing. What have we been playing? So Lloyd, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a fair bit this week. Besides the normal ESO, we ran a couple trials yesterday, which was a lot of fun. I've been playing a few rounds of golf. We did a great multiplayer stream, or video rather, recording, even though I forgot to turn my camera on. I'll be the first to admit that. We did a really great multiplayer game. That was a lot of fun. I also put up a first look of Doom 2016, which is absolutely fantastic. The game plays so well on Stadia. Of course it would. The game itself is fantastic. And I've also been playing a lot of Spiritfarer, which has been just a joy to play. It is such a heartwarming game, and making my way slowly through it, unlocking all the upgrades, has been really fun. So I've been playing a lot. I know a lot of people are curious about Spiritfarer. I've been asked a lot, is Spiritfarer good for kids? The game itself seems to be good for kids. Early on, there's a reference to smoking. I know some parents are very concerned about stuff like that. And then one of the main missions, one of the characters just says the S word, well, types out the S word in text there. So nothing majorly bad that I've run into, but I know some parents are very curious if there's any sort of stuff like that in the video games that their kids play. So for me, it doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but to other people it may be. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody's picking that up to play with their kids because of the review that we did last week, because I did run into a couple other things that we didn't talk about last week.
How far into the game do you think you are?
I'm not sure. Not quite halfway, I don't think, from based on all the things that I've unlocked. I think there's probably a little bit more than half of the game left to go. But it's one of those games where like you can kind of do whatever you want. Like there's no rush to finish anything. You can start a quest and then just leave it, and nothing bad happens for not doing it. You can choose to upgrade, or you cannot on for your boat and just continue doing what you want. You can spend days fishing if that's what you want to do. So it's one of those games that's a little bit open-ended, even though there is a narrative that takes you from start to finish. It's kind of open-ended how you get from point A to point B. So I want to think a little bit less than half, but I've been absolutely loving the game. If I look on my Stadia profile, I think I've played like over 8 hours or something. Nice. I'm just going to bring it up while we're talking. But man, the game is so good. I am such a huge fan of Spiritfarer.
So speaking of 8 hours, I've probably put about 8 hours into PGA Tour 2K21. And Lloyd and I definitely want to talk about that game very quickly. And we'll get to that in just a second. I want to say that outside of golf and Elder Scrolls, for like yesterday, we did our trials. I've played nothing, because I have been working my tail off getting season 4 of 143 Pixels ready. If you haven't already subscribed to 143 Pixels, just head to 143pixels.com and subscribe in whatever is your favorite podcasting app of choice. Or if you just open up your podcasting app and you type 143, it will show up right on top probably. So please take a look at that, subscribe to it. I've got some fantastic guests on the show this season. Per Schneider from IGN, Jeff Kanata, and a whole bunch of other people. Brian Ibbett, TV's Travis, a ton of people. So make sure that you check that out. 143pixels.com. Then when I did have time to play, I played golf. I played lots and lots and lots of golf. Let's talk about that, because when we were playing multiplayer, first off, we had some problems, didn't we, Lloyd?
We did. First, I just double checked my Spiritfarer playtime. It's 8 hours and 23 minutes. Okay. So I'm getting up there. There's still a lot more gameplay to do, but the 8 hours is a long time to play that game. Also, back to 143 Pixels. If you don't subscribe, you should subscribe. It is a fantastic show. And the only thing I really have to say is listen to the first episode, because that just set the tone. It's just such a great episode. You should check that one out.
Yeah, Lloyd was on the first episode.
Oh wait, no! Don't tell them. They have to figure that out for themselves. No, go subscribe to 143 Pixels. It's really good. Okay, now on to PGA. Yeah, we did that multiplayer thing, and I want to say it took us 40 minutes to get into a multiplayer game, but it probably wasn't that long. It was probably maybe 20 minutes, but it felt like forever. We couldn't invite each other from our friends lists. We couldn't create parties. We would create a party, we'd get into the party, and then one of us would hit like the 3-dot button to set some settings, and we would just get an endless spinny circle that would never go away. I think I force quit the game probably about 8 times while we were trying to get into this multiplayer thing. The game is good. Let's just throw it out there. PGA Tour is fantastic on Stadia. Mm-hmm. They need to fix these menu issues, because it is super annoying. And after, the reason why I quit playing when I first played it was because I wanted to check my stats after a match, and it also did that spinny circle thing where there was no menus. Like the menus disappeared, all the text went away, and there's just a little spinny circle in the bottom right hand side of the screen. So since launch and getting the game actually functioning at launch, there's been some major issues with the menu system and everything like that. Once you get into a game, it's fine, but man, how does uh, how does a lot of this get through QA? But the endless menu waits, how I don't know how that gets through any sort of testing. I don't know, regimen or whatever, when you have a bunch of testers doing stuff. Like, I don't understand it, Bill.
It was incredibly frustrating. So there were some issues when the game first launched that had something to do. People were assuming that it had something to do with founders because we didn't have numbers after our names or something. That isn't the issue that we were running into. The issue that we were running into is that the game would essentially crash. Um, and whether I was going into multiplayer or not, if I brought up certain menu items, it would just sit there and we would have a little spinny wheel happening forever. And
Mhm.
the game isn't crashing, Lloyd. I found this out afterwards. The game is not actually crashing. It's just having trouble loading whatever it is. And how I found this out is I was playing and I loaded up a menu and I thought, oh no, it's crashed again. And then like my wife or my son or my niece or somebody needed my attention. They called for me and I got up and I just left it going. And I went downstairs to go see what they needed. And when I came back up, the menu had loaded. So
Oh, really?
yeah, it was just taking a really, really long time and we were getting impatient. Now, our patience was, we were being very patient with, because these menus should not take this long, but
Right.
they have since patched the game, and I have not played it since they patched because I've just been too busy working on stuff. But they have since patched the game. This came out yesterday. It says here we've got some exciting news on what's addressed in today's PGA 2K21 patch. The patch is now live for PS4, Xbox, and coming soon for Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, Stadia, and PC. Okay, it says coming soon, and that was 2 days ago. I don't know if it's on Stadia yet, but it says addressed reported concerns around stability in various menus, gameplay scenarios, and the course designer. So that right there seems like the thing that we were running into and having problems with. So I
100%.
haven't played it since this article came out. I don't know if it's been patched yet on Stadia. I assume that they're going to update it because it says up here, it says updated yesterday at 2025, but it doesn't say anything about Stadia having the patch live yet. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm very much looking forward to that getting patched because it's not even centered around multiplayer. Just going into a menu to, like, we both had the same icon when we were playing multiplayer. It was like a little red golf club or something. And I was like, oh, I'm going to see what other options they have for icons. And I hit the button and of course the game froze. So
Right.
I'm hoping that stuff gets fixed because I love this game. I'm having so much fun with it. I know that there's people who are saying that they are not fans of the graphics, and I don't understand that. I think the graphics look fine. Somebody was asking on our video, they were like, is it 60 frames per second? And my answer to that is, who cares if it's 60 frames per second? 60 frames per second really matters when you're talking about, a first person shooter or something like
100%.
that. But when you're talking about like a golf game where when you're interacting with the game, you are not looking at the animation. You are looking at the little white line on the bottom of the screen so that you can get your downswing and upswing at the right moments. It doesn't matter what frame rate it is as long as it's stable.
100%. Yeah.
Go ahead.
First person shooters, if it's single player, 60 frames a second makes everything that much smoother, makes it easier to control. When it's multiplayer, having more frames allows for more accurate shots because there'd be more update frames, more checking to make sure that your bullet hit the thing that you're shooting at. But in a golf game, who cares? It could be 3 frames a second and it would probably still be an okay game because you're just watching your shot. I noticed watching the playthrough, you fast forward all of your shots. I let them kind of play out the normal speed. Maybe I'm gonna have to get into the whole fast forwarding thing to make these rounds go a little bit quicker.
Well, I mean, when I played like the first 10 or so rounds, I would let it go. But then as you play more and more and more, you're like, okay, I just want to get to the next spot. I will say
Yeah.
this, when you play the I know the game is called PGA Tour, but then in the game you can do the PGA Tour, which is confusing. When I played the PGA Tour, and you get to a certain level, at that point they start showing you the other golfers' shots. So like
Right.
I would take my shot, I'd be on a putt or something, or I would have just done a drive, and then it would cut away and show me not like a multiplayer aspect, but some other like AI golfer doing this awesome chip or something, as if I were watching it on TV. And I thought that was really cool, but I want to go into the menus and find out if I can turn that off, just so that I can get through the stuff faster.
Sure.
But
Right.
I fear I'm afraid to go into menus in this game, because I'm going to have to shut it off and turn it back on. So that patch needs to happen as fast as humanly possible. But this game is awesome. It's just that the menus are holding it back, and I can't wait until it's fixed.
Yeah, it's a little heartening to see that it isn't just happening on Stadia, because that was a couple of comments I saw. I was like, see, none of these AAA games should be on Stadia. It's a huge mess of a platform, just because one game had launch issues and problems with the menus. But then you find out the menus are across the whole entire game, across every platform. It's not a Stadia issue. So the trolls can wait for other things to grab onto when they're making people that play Stadia feel bad.
All right, let's move on to the news. And stop and save. I'm going to go ahead and save. Uncanny says our transitions are so smooth. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It took me a long time to get that stuff working the way that I wanted to. Much to Lloyd's dismay, because I kept changing things. Save project. Where is it? The menu is a puzzle. It's part of the game. No! Keyboard's too far away. Stadia cast. What is it, 75? No. 73.
73.
Save. All right. Okay, you ready for the news?
Yep.
All right, we're back, and it's time to talk about all of the news. First off, September Pro games have been announced. Lloyd, what do you think about this selection? We get 6 games this month. What do you think about it?
I think there's literally something for everyone here with what is coming out. We get 6 games: Super Bomberman R Online, Hello Neighbor, Metro Last Light Redux, meaning we have all 3 Metros as part of Pro if you've been Pro since the start. Ember, Hitman, the first Hitman, or the redone first Hitman, and Gunsport is coming to Pro. So 6 games. You have puzzle-y kind of games, you have multiplayer games, you have first-person shooters, you have puzzle-y first-person shooters, you have a sporty game. There is literally something for everyone. The one that I'm way super excited for is Super Bomberman R Online. One of my favorite games at launch for Stadia, or for the Switch, was Super Bomberman R. I've probably played that more multiplayer than any other game in my house. Whenever we'd have people come over, we would end up in the basement playing 4-player Bomberman. Now there's going to be 64-player Bomberman, so I can only imagine how insane this is going to be. But man, what a month! 6 amazing games. For maybe not for everyone, but there's going to be something there for everybody, which is an important thing when you have a service like Stadia Pro, where you want to attract as many people to upping for that $10 a month sub.
So I'm going to ask chat what they think real quick. Which of these 6 games are you guys most excited for? Let us know in chat. I'm with you though, Lloyd. Super Bomberman R Online is very, very exciting. I do have that one on Nintendo Switch, but they didn't have the 64-player option. When they made Tetris 99 for Nintendo Switch, I thought the idea of a battle royale based around Tetris was a stupid idea. I could not have been more wrong. That game is fantastic. It is my favorite version of Tetris, and it is incredibly fun. So adding a battle royale theme to Super Bomberman R Online is extremely exciting to me. I am so excited for this game. It's going to be fantastic. In it okay, so Google, you better get this right. You better get this one right. They have not said that Crowdplay is not launching with Super Bomberman R Online. And when they unveiled Super Bomberman R Online at the Stadia Connect, they focused heavily on Crowdplay, right? So that means that Crowdplay should be launching on September 1st with Super Bomberman R Online. Would you agree with that, Lloyd?
I hope so. I really hope so. I just want it to launch. You're seeing people that are playing it with Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, but I want to get in and play it myself.
Yeah. And I'm absolutely the same way. And for Google to not say that it's not launching with Super Bomberman R Online means that it's launching with Super Bomberman R Online. And if it doesn't, then Google, you've got to do something about communication, because I don't know, it's going to drive me crazy if it doesn't launch with it, because I think that we would have so much fun. Now, if you are a new listener and you don't know what Crowdplay is, Lloyd, do you want to explain what Crowdplay is to everybody?
Yeah, so if you are streaming and people want to join your game, they can jump into your game and they join up in a queue, and on YouTube right above where the chat is, there's going to be a little panel, and it says, hey, you're number 4, and then it'll be like, oh, you're next, get ready. And then as soon as it's your turn, you hit play. It spins you up into the instance of Bomberman that is running, that the streamer's playing on, and then you join that game. It's just a really fun and interactive way to get people that are watching you to come and play against you or with you.
Yeah, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. I can't wait for that feature. As far as the other games on here, Metro, why did they do it in reverse order? Like that, they did that on other games too, where they gave you, the newer version of the game first, and then they came back and they're like, and here's the older games too. It seems kind of weird to me.
It is kind of weird, but it's good if people played Exodus, which is the 3rd game in the series, and really, really loved it, then they got the chance to play the first one without having to buy it, and then they're going to get a chance to play the second one without having to buy it, just by maintaining their pro sub. That would be a good for those people. But yeah, it is kind of weird how you get 3 and then 1 and 2 instead of 1, 2, and 3. But I think they were trying to get the biggest games they could into pro as quickly as they could, just to get as many people jumping into pro as they could.
That makes a lot of sense. Uncanny in chat is saying, how would Crowdplay work with the Chromecast? I don't know, because Lloyd and I have not had access to it. We're very much looking forward to being able to try it out and seeing how it works. So we'll find out sooner rather than later, I should hope. You may just be stuck using the browser if you want to do Crowdplay, but we don't know.
Exactly. I'm looking for the comment. It scrolled up. Charles Oran asked, what were your thoughts on the video ad that they used to introduce the pro games? I absolutely love this video that they put up. It's not just hey, here's the 6 games. It's showing everything that is on the platform, which is really good. This seems more like an Xbox ad. Xbox does ads like this pretty frequently to kind of show everything that's happening on the platform, and then they show off the new games that are coming to like Game Pass or whatever. Perfect video. I'm super happy that Google did this. This is the type of advertising that they have to do, is not just show the 4, 5, 6 pieces of content that are in the press release, but show other things that are on the platform, because people are coming because, hey, what's this Ember thing? And then they see, oh, well, there's this game and that game and this one and the other thing. That's good for the platform, and it just shows the fact that Stadia has way more games on it than it did 6 months ago, and that's going to continue to be the case as time ticks forward.
You know, we've been having conversations in our community Discord quite often, and somebody said, "Do you feel that Stadia Pro is turning into Game Pass?" Or is it Game Pass? What is that? What I'm thinking of? Is that the name of it? The Microsoft thing?
Yeah, Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass. And I you know, I said I don't think so, because with Game Pass, those games come in and then they go back out. With Stadia Pro, I actually like the model for Stadia Pro better, because games come in, and if you happen to be a Pro subscriber when those games come in, you have them as long as you're a Pro subscriber. They don't rotate back out. I think the Stadia Pro model is better. Now, right now, as of today, there's more games in Game Pass. Well, of course there are. Of course. Game Pass is not a brand new platform. Xbox has been around for a while. Stadia is a brand new platform. It's going to take time. But the longer that you stay subscribed to Stadia Pro, I feel like the more it feels like Game Pass, because your library just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that Stadia Pro. Okay, so during Gamescom, the opening night live with Jeff Keighley, Microsoft did a great ad, and they said, you know, they focused on it's the best deal in gaming. And I feel like it is absolute. I 100% agree. Right now, Xbox Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, but Stadia, I think, is the second best deal in gaming, and it just keeps getting better, especially if you've been subscribed to it for a long time.
Yeah, the best part of Games Pass, for people that have an Xbox or have a PC and buy games, is if you are a Games Pass member, you get every first-party Microsoft game the day they come out for free, free in air quotes, because my cable.
Oh no, Lloyd's fixing his microphone. So basically, the first-party games stay in, and the third-party games rotate out. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, so you get, for your $10 a month, you get every $60 game that as soon as they come out, you get access to it, which is fantastic. The big benefit that Microsoft has that Google doesn't have yet is Microsoft owns like 15 development studios, so there is a big pathway of new games that are coming out, which is good. I mean, that's going to happen to Google down the road. Once they're not a year old, when they're maybe 10 years old, they're going to have a bunch of development studios as well. But yeah, Games Pass is just a fantastic value for your $10 a month. But Google Stadia is a close second, because you're getting these games to keep forever. They don't rotate in and out. You're not just paying for a window of access. All right, I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah. So, you're right. You're. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it is a fantastic value. Stadia is better than, to me, PlayStation Plus, which is the other competitor to Microsoft Games Pass. Actually, Microsoft competes with themselves by having Games with Gold, and Games Pass is two separate things. So it's Game Pass, Google Stadia, maybe at Games with Gold, and then maybe PlayStation Plus. They're a tie for third, but it's an amazing amount of value that Google is saying. Like, I remember when we did an interview, or when you did the interview with John Justice, and he's like, yeah, it's not gonna be a monthly thing. We're gonna have a game every month or two, and it'll be added to the service, and you'll get access to it. That was never a thing from when it started to now. It's this huge pile of games that come out each and every month for your $10 a month subscription. It's a really good value. And the best part about Stadia is you don't have to download any of this stuff. You don't have to download a 80 gig version of whatever the new Gears of War to your Xbox. You just hit play, and you're playing Metro Exodus or Metro Last Light with 30 seconds from when you want to play it to when it's actually streaming on your TV set.
I think another thing, maybe you and I disagree on what the best thing about it. I think personally, for me, the best thing about it is the fact that you know, if you want Game Pass, that's fine. You better have a powerful computer or you better have an Xbox. And if you don't have either of those things, then Game Pass is no good for you. With Stadia, you don't need to have anything except for like a Chromebook and maybe I would say you'd need to have a controller, but you don't have to have a Stadia controller. You can use your Xbox controller if you want. So pretty much any screen and any controller, and you can play Stadia games, and it works really, really well. So I think that as time moves on, Stadia Pro is going to keep getting better and better and better. But I also think, you know, you talked about that ad that Stadia did. I think
Yeah.
that they need to do another ad that says, hey, get these games, no subscription needed, because there's still that right now there's so many people out there that think that you have to subscribe to Stadia Pro. So that means $10 a month on top of buying games. And that's just not true. And it drives me crazy when I see that argument all the time.
Yeah, I think it's part of the problem is we really don't see Stadia ads anywhere else except for Google, like Google properties on YouTube and YouTube blog or Google blog and all this stuff. They need to start advertising in other places. Like I don't know, I didn't watch all of the Gamescom coverage. I didn't see in what I watched, I didn't see any Stadia ads. That would have been a perfect place to advertise. No console needed, next gen games. Here we go. That would have been a great way to advertise. But you're just not getting out there for the average gamer. We being the Stadia community that loves the platform were the butt of jokes right when Stadia launched, and there really has been nothing done to kind of pull that back for the general public. I still see articles, including year-in reviews or whatever that are up on YouTube where they're saying, yeah, I don't understand why I have to pay $10 a month and then I have to buy my games on top of it. And it's like, well, no, you don't have to pay $10 a month. You can just buy your games. There's no, they're two different things. It's like saying you can have an Xbox without paying for Gold or Games Pass. There are additional things on top of it. Google needs to get out there and get that topic more known in the gaming circles. And I mean, we're trying to do that, but I mean, unless you're already interested in Stadia, you're not going to listen to Stadia Cast. So Google needs to get out there in front of everybody, but with ads on primetime television and before movies, when movies are actually a thing again. They need to get the ads out there where normal people that aren't gamers might be able to see them, and then hopefully we'll convert some of those people over once games that they want to play are actually on the platform.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Avengers. Stick around, everybody. All right.
Crash Bandicoot. Every week, Jam. Every week. It's going to happen at some point.
You know, at some point, you're going to be right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
All right, save project.
And just to everybody in chat, we're trying to keep the chat positive. Coming in and just spouting negativity that doesn't help anybody. So we'll time you out, and if it doesn't stop, we'll have to do other things as well. But let's just keep it positive, everybody.
Absolutely. Coming in and saying that we're shills for Microsoft is just about the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. Yeah. I've heard a lot of dumb things.
I've said a lot of dumb things.
I've said many dumb things.
But I think that takes the cake.
All right, let's go ahead and let me do my stream marker. By the way, for those of you who are watching live and you're like, how come you're doing it this way? Why are you stopping after everything? Well, A, it allows me to save mid-show, and B, it allows me to put in stream markers so that after the fact, I can go back in and say, oh, this is when we started talking about this. It makes it much easier. All right, here we go. Okay, well, we got some news this week, and right before we started recording, Lloyd asked me what I thought about it, and I said, no, I will not answer you because I want to talk about this on the show. So, Lloyd, why don't you tell everybody what is the news that we're referring to?
Okay, well, news keeps coming out about Marvel's Avengers, which is the big multi-platform end of summer title that so many people are looking forward to on all the platforms because it's coming to pretty much everything, which is fantastic. So if you're not familiar with Marvel's Avengers, we talked about it before, but maybe you missed that episode. It's essentially it's like it's like a Destiny game, but with individual fighters that are all Marvel superheroes. Each of those superheroes has their own skills, their own traits, their own superpowers, their own equipment, but also has their own battle pass like thing. So if you've played the demo, you could see that you could take any of your characters up from level 1 to level 50 in the battle pass. That doesn't change their power as a superhero, but what it does is it unlocks costumes, it unlocks emotes, it unlocks extra I don't know, core components that you need to upgrade your equipment and things like that. It's very similar to something that you'd have in Fortnite.
So it's all cosmetic, right? Or no?
It's all cosmetic from the items except for the upgrade the upgrade component. So you might need, if you want to upgrade your chest piece, you might need these, I don't know, PIM particles or whatever the actual component is. And so you're going to I need 50 PIM particles to fully upgrade this thing from the level that I got it to the max level of that item. And those aren't cosmetic because they'll make your equipment better, but you can get them other ways than through the battle pass.
All right.
So when I was looking through the demo, every single character has one of those. It went from 1 to 50, and it was pretty interesting. And there's premium currency in the game. You unlock a bunch of premium currency by getting to level 50, and you can also buy yourself to any part of that. So if you really like the Hulk costume where he's bright green with purple pants, it's like, okay, I could just buy up to level 20 on the battle pass right now just by spending the premium currency in the game. Or I can play Hulk a lot and do dailies and a bunch of other things to get to that point without having to spend money. And I'm like, this is really interesting. This is a great way to do it. But what has come out is that every character is going to have one of these. The game is going to ship with, say, 7 characters, I think it is, or 6 characters, but they're going to add more characters down the road. All of those are going to have battle passes, but to unlock the battle pass, you need to spend 1,000 of the premium currency, which I think is like $10 of the premium currency. So if you play the main characters enough and you save that premium currency without spending it, it's not going to cost you anything to unlock the battle pass for these other characters. Unlocking the battle pass just gets you to level 1, though. It's unlike the ones for the characters that come with the game where you could unlock tier 30 in this battle pass to get the specific costume you want using that same premium currency. So people are saying, this is ridiculous. That means I'm going to have to pay $10 for every new character. There's rumors that 15 new characters are coming after. So I'm going to be paying $150 for this game after launch, blah, blah, blah. Not necessarily. If you don't spend any of your premium currency on other stuff, you can then use that to buy the battle pass for the characters. Still, this strikes me as odd, and for a game that initially said that there isn't going to be any microtransactions when it was first announced, that has quickly disappeared. Now it's a lot of microtransactions, but I don't think it's as bad as when I first read it, saying I'm going to have to pay $10 for every new character. This is ridiculous. Not necessarily. If you have enough of your premium currency sticking around, you just have to keep that, unlock the battle pass, and by leveling up the battle pass for, say, I don't know, say Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is going to be post-launch on PS4, even though I think he comes out on day 1 for PS4. By leveling Spider-Man from 1 to 50, you're going to unlock enough premium currency to unlock the next battle pass. So as long as you're not spending everything that is in your wallet, it's not burning a hole in your pocket, you'll be fine. But at the end of the day, this still is a little bit dirty, and I don't know how I feel about it 100% yet.
I keep kind of going back and forth. The first thing that occurs to me is when I play, let's say I'm playing Fortnite, and it's a new season of Fortnite, so I buy the battle pass, and I have a limited amount of time to get through that battle pass. If I only get halfway through that battle pass by the end of the season, then that second half of the battle pass is gone. Am I right? Like I can't get that stuff.
Correct. Yeah,
right.
You don't finish the battle pass.
So here's my question: is the amount of time that are you limited in the amount of time that you have to unlock the battle pass when, like, let's say I buy we'll say She-Hulk or whatever. Like I pick up
Yep.
She-Hulk as her battle pass with the premium currency that I got from playing through Iron Man. Right, I played through Iron Man. I got 1,000 credits, and I take that 1,000 credits. I buy the She-Hulk battle pass. I'm now playing as She-Hulk. Do I have a limited amount of time to complete that battle pass? If
It
the
doesn't.
answer is yes, then I will. Then that's bad. If the answer is no, then I don't care.
For sure. Yeah, I don't believe so. It from everything that I've read and what I've seen in the game, once you unlock the battle pass, it's just there, and the more you play the character, the more you'll get closer to level 50 for that character. Anders D in the chat room says Spider-Man is being released March 2021. I got that wrong. I thought it was coming like the week after launch or something, so I must have read something wrong. So thanks for keeping me honest there, Anders D. But yeah, the battle passes that you unlock in the game, I believe, are just another menu item for this particular character. And if the more you play the character, the closer you get to level 50, the closer you are to unlocking the full 1,000 credits back to then spend on another post-launch character. Because they said, I don't know if this is going to be true, but they said in the past that all characters coming after launch are going to be free. And so this is a way for them to monetize that development. So when you think of it that way, maybe it's not that bad. If you don't spend every penny that you have in your pocket, you'll be able to unlock the battle passes for all these characters without any issues. And at the end of the day, if you don't unlock the battle passes, you can still play your character, level them up, get the skill points, unlock abilities which are different from the battle pass. The battle pass is just for cosmetics and like card backgrounds. So every player has their own player card, and you can put a background for your player card. So if you want to have that really cool Wolverine one, you're gonna have to get Wolverine up to level 50 or level 30 or whatever it is, if Wolverine ever comes to the game. Things like that are what the battle pass is for. So you don't need the battle pass to progress with your character. Is the big takeaway from this. So if you don't care that you're not going to get 5 or 8 costumes, you don't even need the battle pass at all.
Yeah, and this is in my opinion, charging money for cosmetics is always okay in my opinion. Now,
Yep.
The way that they can make it not okay is if they do it like the Fortnite model, where they have a thing on the screen and it's like, we're going to sell this certain costume for, we'll say Venom, right? But we'll only sell this Venom costume for the next 48 hours. After that, it's gone and you can't buy it anymore. I can't stand when like Fortnite does that kind of thing, because it manipulates people who are compulsive shoppers into spending money that they probably otherwise shouldn't. And of course, some people might say, well, that's on the person who's spending the money to not do that. But I still it feels kind of scummy. So I'm hoping that kind of thing doesn't happen in this game. And if the only way to get these costumes and stuff is to do the battle pass, then that doesn't bother me, because it's not timed and I can do it at my leisure. Or leisure, however you're supposed to pronounce that. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So September, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, it's one of those things where at first the thought of having to pay $10 for every character was, for a game that you had to pay $60 for to get in the first place, was just like, oh my God, this is terrible. But then you look a little bit further and maybe it's not as bad as it is. You are getting a bunch of added content for free. And if you want to get other free content, you're just going to have to pay for it or save your pennies. So at the end of the day, maybe it's not as egregious as I first thought it would be.
And that's what I think a lot of people are reading the headline and not reading the article. And that's why they're super upset. Look, I understand people don't like microtransactions in games. They're here to stay. We're not going to get rid of them, because if you boycott this game because you don't like their monetization model, that is perfectly fine. But enough people are not going to do that. It's just not going to happen, and so it's still going to succeed. You know what? There's been an example in the past where that's not the case, and that would be Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is an awesome game, had a bad monetization model, but then they changed it and they made it fantastic. but the damage was already done. And even though that game's awesome, it had a horrible launch, and now you can probably get it for like $6. But you
Yeah.
know, if you don't like the idea, then vote with your wallet, or you could just buy the game and not get any of the cosmetic stuff, because I love
Yeah.
that you could still play all of the characters for free. Before we move on, I do want to say that, you know, we talked about the pro games that are coming in September. Of course, we have Avengers coming in September. So I looked at the official subreddit, and September is a crazy month. September, it's rumored that we're going to be getting Dead by Daylight, or we don't know what day in September. I can't imagine that not launching on Halloween. That just seems silly to me. When
Yeah.
you have like a horror themed game, you launch it on Halloween when it's coming out in the fall. We've got Gunsport, Hello Neighbor, Hitman, Hitman 2, Avengers, Super Bomberman, NBA 2K21, WWE 2K Battlegrounds, Serious Sam 4, Baldur's Gate 3. All of those games are coming to Stadia in September. What an insane month of games.
Yeah.
Of all of those games, which one are you most excited for, Lloyd?
Well, I'm already getting Avengers, so I'm gonna not include that one. It would have to be a toss up between Super Bomberman R and WWE 2K Battlegrounds, because they both look like just ridiculously fun arcadey multiplayer things, which is just gonna be just so much fun to play. If you have a bunch of friends to jump online and play with.
Yeah, for me, Baldur's Gate 3. That's the game I'm most looking forward to in September,
Mhm.
even though it's just early access. All right, let's move on to the next story. Save. All right, what is the next thing? Okay, here we go. All right, the next story that we're talking about is so ESRB. ESRB is always leaking stuff. Peggy is always leaking stuff. All of these different software ratings boards that are all over the world are always leaking stuff, and most of the time, these things turn out to be true.
Yeah.
We don't know if these leaks are true, but there's a whole bunch of leaks. Stadia Source went out and compiled a whole bunch of these leaks. And let's talk about these games that are on the way to Stadia rumored. These are rumors, okay? So Surviving the Aftermath, which is coming to Xbox, Epic Games, and apparently the ESRB has leaked this game for Stadia, or not ESRB. One of the many rating boards has leaked this to Stadia as well. It says, survive and thrive in a post-apocalyptic future. Resources are scarce, but opportunity calls. Build the ultimate disaster-proof colony. Protect your colonists and restore civilization to a devastated world. Remember, the end of the world is just the beginning. All right, so there you go. Risk of Rain 2. Now, have you played Risk of Rain 1? Because I haven't.
I played a little bit of Risk of Rain 1, really enjoyed it. And then I watched a bunch of people streaming Risk of Rain 2, which is 3D. Risk of Rain 1 is a 2D game. Risk of Rain 2 is a full 3D world, procedurally generated. Looks just fantastic, but not a game that I ever picked up because I was waiting to get it on Switch, and then other things came out and it got in front of me. If it comes to Stadia, that would be a great platform to play it on for me.
So what kind of game is Risk of Rain then?
So it's a team-based, it's kind of like a wave shooter, but not really. Like you land on a planet, there's a bunch of enemies that you have to kill. You collect their components to unlock chests. You unlock the chests to get character upgrades, and you try to survive as long as you can to go into the next level, to try to survive as long as you can to go into the next level. But when you die, that's it. Like it's kind of one of those games where you try to make runs to get as far as you can. It's very much one of those types, like roguelite kind of game, but in a 3D world. Looks fantastic. I mean, it's not super lifelike, but the art style they're using reminds me a lot of like a Battlezone or Tron or something like that. It's a really cool looking game.
Very cool. Into the Breach is the next game that was quote unquote leaked. This is a top-down tactical turn-based game. I think it was on Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
It looks fantastic. It looks really, really fun. I've heard good things about it, but I haven't played it because it seems like the kind of game that I would play for, I don't know, probably 5 hours or so, really enjoy my 5 hours with it, and then get distracted by shiny things. Have you
Yep.
played Into the Breach?
Yeah, yeah, it's a game that I picked up when it launched at on Switch, played through it, got as far as I can because the game itself is also there's some procedurally generated content to it. So as you play through the game, it might be a little different each time. Not a lot different, but a little different. So it was fun kind of seeing where it is. There's a time travel mechanic. There's all this stuff that happens in the game. It's a lot of fun, but top down turn-based strategy games are not my forte, so I didn't stick as long with it as some other people.
And then we've got Far Cry New Dawn and Far Cry 5, both being rated by one of the ratings boards for Stadia. Are you a Far Cry guy? I've never played a Far Cry game.
Yeah, ever since Far Cry 3, I've played every one and almost 100%ed each and every one. I think Primal, I didn't 100% that game because I'd only rented it. I never actually bought it, so I didn't have it for as long as I might have needed to do that. But I'm a huge fan of kind of the way Ubisoft does their open world games, and the whole collecting all the things. So yeah, getting some Far Cry content on Stadia would be fantastic.
And that would not surprise me even a little. I mean, Ubisoft is a
Yeah.
huge supporter of Stadia, so I would
Yeah.
assume that pretty much every Ubisoft game is going to come to Stadia at some point. Even games
Yeah.
like Hyperscape, which is already out but not on Stadia yet, I assume
Yeah.
that at some point that will be ported over as well.
With Ubisoft Plus, when that comes eventually,
Yes.
I'm sure all these things will be part of that as well.
Yeah. And then there's Outward, which they say Outward delivers an immersive RPG experience coupled with survival gameplay, offering a deeply rewarding challenge for most avid gamers. As an ordinary adventurer, you'll not only have to hide or defend yourself from threatening creatures, but also brave the hazardous environmental conditions, protect yourself against infectious diseases, gross, and make sure that you get enough sleep and stay hydrated. All right. That sounds terrible to me. I don't want to. I'm going to tell a quick little story. All right. One of my favorite games of all time is EverQuest. And in that game, when I first started playing, I played a dwarven rogue. And I was wandering around outside of the main city, and I was lost in the woods, basically. And I had run out of food, and I had run out of water. And as I was wandering around completely lost, because there was no map in the game, my chat just kept saying, "You are hungry, you are thirsty, you are hungry, you are thirsty." And eventually I just died. And that made me very, very sad. I don't like managing stuff like that in games
Right.
like this. But you know what? Not every game has to be for me. Okay, then we've got the Gardens Between. Sorry, that's pluralized. You want to read this one, Lloyd?
Yeah, so this came out in September of 2018. Gardens Between is a single-player adventure puzzle game about time, memory, and friendship. Best friends Arena and Frent fall into a series of vibrant, dreamlike island gardens peppered with everyday objects from their childhood. Together, they embark on an emotional journey that examines the significance of their friendship, manipulate time to solve puzzles, and reach the apex of each isle. Follow the duo as they unpack and explore their precious moments spent together, lighting up constellations and illuminating threads of a bittersweet narrative.
That sounds really cool. Again, it sounds like a game that I would be very interested in for a very short time. There's
Yeah.
too many of those out there that they get my attention and then I forget about them. And then the last one is a game that's already been out and I know is very, very popular, especially like my son and his friends really like this game, and that's Human Fall Flat, which is this weird game where you control this, I don't know, I would hate to say human, but human-shaped thing, and it's got ragdoll physics and stuff like that, and I hate the way that the game controls. I'm not a fan of Human Fall Flat. But I can see that there are definitely a lot of people that like these games. I just don't, and that's perfectly fine. But that one is also rumored to be coming to Stadia. So, Lloyd, of all of these, which ones are you most excited for?
A lot of them. Human Fall Flat for just for the end of what you're saying, they announced recently that it sold over 4 million copies. So it is a incredibly popular franchise that I've never played. So I don't know much about it. All of these things that are leaked to the ESRB and other things. I'm really excited to play the new Far Cry 5. Like it looks, or sorry, Far Cry New Dawn and any of the new Far Cries that I haven't played yet that are going to be coming out in the future. So I want to play Far Cry. I really do want to play a Far Cry on Stadia, because it would be fun just to jump into an open world, an Ubisoft open world like that. So New Dawn would be the one I want to play. Far Cry 5 itself is a really good game, so being able to play that one again would be really great. And then hopefully Far Cry 6 will be coming to Stadia at some point as well.
Right, with Gus Fring.
Yep.
So Jem in chat is saying another game that is rumored but not listed in that article is Darksiders 3. Now, is Darksiders 3 an older game, or is that the next Darksiders game? I played Darksiders Genesis
3.
and I finished it on Stadia. That game is rad.
3 came out in 2018.
Oh, okay. So there you go. All right. So there you go. Those are the new game rumors. Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, crowd play, which is when we talk about all of the things that you guys want us to talk about. So stick around, everybody. And save. There we go. Far Cry 6 has been announced, according to Anders. We've had announced games that haven't come. What do you mean by that, Lloyd?
So we've had other games that have been announced that haven't made it to Stadia yet, or they come late. So I know Far Cry has been announced on Stadia, but until it's in the store and I can download it, I don't say that it's there. And the game is still a little ways away, so there's still time for that to change, whether it's going to come to Stadia or not.
Yeah, what did you think about that Madden didn't come day and date? I know there are a lot of people that were ticked about that.
Yeah, I mean, the more of that happens, the worse it is for the platform. So when you know a game is coming and then it doesn't come on day one, and there's no announcement whether it is going to be day one or after it doesn't come day one when it's coming, that is just, it's really bad for the platform. So I hope that actually comes at some point, because I know there's a lot of Madden fans out there.
Well, we know it's coming.
Yeah,
like EA has specifically said it's coming, and they were at Stadia Connect, so I have no doubt that it's coming. I just think it's ridiculous that, like, on Reddit there were people who posted, "Look, I got a message from EA support," which let's be honest, a lot of times the support people don't know any more than we do. But I got a message from EA support that says it's coming on the 29th, Stadia included, or maybe it was the 28th, I can't remember. And they posted that, and then nobody from Google, which that's the official subreddit, nobody from Google said, well, actually, it's not. And that would be fine. It's fine if it's not coming on the same day as everything else.
Yep.
But just tell people.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the lack of communication, which needs to go away. Like, there needs to be more communication about things like this. And I understand this isn't necessarily a Google problem, because they don't own the game. Just because Madden is coming to Stadia, they're not the ones involved in any of that. If, as a platform holder, you make the platform available, game publishers can decide when the game goes up for sale, provided it's done, how much it is, all that stuff. That is in the publisher's hands. So this isn't necessarily a Google problem. But you'd think that PR would want to get in front of that, and they would work with EA PR to say, hey, we need to figure this out and announce it, because we got a bunch of people that are going to be pissed off if it doesn't come on day one. It's good. And yeah, like John in the chat room said, EA said that their first game is going to be Jedi in the fall. So that is probably going to be the first EA game that's going to be on the platform. So hoping for Madden was probably a lot to hope for, but they didn't say either way. And it would just been really nice if there was like a firm release date saying Madden on Xbox and PlayStation 4 and whatever else is going to be on this date. It's going to be coming to Stadia in December. And then at least people would have a date that they can look forward to, and stop asking the really bad AI support bots for actual information.
Right, and we're talking about the EA support bot, not Google's support, because we
Yep.
do know that the people that are on Twitter are actual people, not
Hmm.
just robots. Um, and Uncanny says, "What if Google doesn't have that much control over it?" You're right. Maybe Google doesn't have that much control over it, and we know that they're going to say, "Listen, it's not our. We don't make announcements. Our partners make the announcements for their games. That's the deal, and that's perfectly valid."
Yep.
But they should have, somebody should have picked up a phone and said, "Hey, EA, you're killing us here. Just say that it's not coming tomorrow or whatever." And that's
Yep.
all. I don't even need them to say December. Just get on Twitter and say, it will come to Stadia at a later date. Send. Boom. Done.
Yep.
Move on. Anyway.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's
it
move.
is.
Go
It is
ahead.
frustrating. It is frustrating that it keeps happening, but it's the new platform. Things like this are going to keep happening until Google figures everything out. Running a video game company and a video game platform and a video game service is a little bit different than creating hardware products that you figure out what you want to make 18 months prior. 12 months before it comes out, you start initial development of the actual hardware. You get the first samples done, and then 6 months before it hits store shelves, you're getting mass production done so that you can ship it on time. Video games and platforms work a little bit differently than that.
Anders says Google has control. It's their platform. That's not how it works. The companies who make the games have control over their games. Google has control by saying, yes, we will allow that game on our platform, or no, we will not. But they don't get to decide when their partners make announcements. That's how it works. All right.
Yeah, and it's not up to Google to say, oh, did you guys know that Spider-Man is also coming to Google Stadia? I know Sony hasn't announced the partnership that we have, but it's coming. And if they did that, they would start having partnerships with other companies. If a big news story is broken by Google themselves, not in tandem with the third party that is bringing that game to the platform.
Just before we move on, we don't know anything about Spider-Man and Stadia at all. We do not know anything about that.
I said that because it's 100% not coming to Stadia because Sony owns all that IP rights for the movies, and they're the ones that would be okaying video games based on those movie versions of Spider-Man.
Art by Committee is like, Spidey on Stadia confirmed.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, let's record our crowd play section. All right, everybody, it's time for us to talk about crowd play. This is all of the stuff that you guys sending questions using the super chat feature throughout the show. And then if there's time, we'll get to tweets and stuff like that. So let's get started by thanking our newer members. We had a couple of new people become members today. We had Christopher Bernier and David Wilson became members since the last time that I was streaming, or Lloyd was streaming. So thank you very much for that. That's the wrong button. There we go. That's the button we want. The other thing here, we got Sugotronic and Ray Sherrod and Consino and Ryan all sent in super chats. They didn't send messages along with them, but they sent in super chats for support, and we really do appreciate that. Jem in chat says Stadia needs only one thing, and that thing is Crash Bandicoot. That's what Jem says almost every single episode, and he's constantly saying it in our community Discord, link in the description down below. Lloyd, are you a big Crash Bandicoot fan?
I like Crash Bandicoot. I've played all the Crash Bandicoots except for the most recent racing game because it didn't look enjoyable to me when it first came out on Nintendo Switch. Not to say it's a bad game, just not a game that appealed to me. I like Crash Bandicoot fine. I'm excited for the new game. I would be very happy if it came to Stadia.
I don't care if it comes to Stadia, but I want it to come to Stadia just for Jem. In fact, I only want Jem to be able to play it. Just Jem, nobody else. Jem, Crash Bandicoot, that's it. All right, Bernard Baker sent in a super chat. They said, a recent advertising I saw said Stadia is now free to try with 1 month of Pro for free. This right here sends the wrong message on a global scale. I think Bernard has a pretty good point because, okay, what they're saying is you can try out Stadia and it won't cost you anything. but that makes people think that you have to subscribe. And we spent lots of time talking about this, so I don't know that I want to retread what I said earlier today. But they need, you know what I think Stadia needs to do? I think that they need to buy a game and just make that game free on Stadia, not even for Pro. Just everybody has access to this game for free. Doesn't have to be a huge game. And it allows people to try it without spending any money. And it doesn't make people think that you have to subscribe. So I think that that is one thing that Stadia could do to help them in a big way. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. Like this whole free to try thing it needs to go away because Stadia is free. It's a free console. It's a free platform. So say free to try means that it isn't free after you try it. So Google needs to get away from that. I don't like we talked about a couple episodes ago. It's like free console, great games, something simple like that. Obviously not that, because they're gonna need to workshop this with some actual marketing people that know what they're doing, but something along those lines. Which we don't know at all. They need to workshop something, get some sort of phrase that is a catchphraseable and memeable, and then they need to blanket the internet with that. Hey, you want to play whatever the new say Far Cry 6. You want to play Far Cry 6? Well, we're doing a deal now. Buy it for $30 on Stadia. You get access to it for the rest of the time that it's on the platform. It'll be there forever. You can play this game for half the price as any other console. And while you're at it, you get 1 month free of Pro. You can claim all these games that are part of Pro. And if you continue paying for Pro, you can continue playing those games for free. Something along those lines, where they do like a big hyper discount on something that is a popular game, similar to what Epic did with Borderlands 3, where it's like, yeah, if you want to play Borderlands 3, buy it on our store. You get a free skin in Fortnite. You get it for a discount. You get it for cheaper. You get it early. All this other stuff. They need to do something along those lines just to bring people to the platform, because so many people, even people that I know personally that I've talked about Stadia with in the past, are like, yeah, I don't know. I've kind of bounced from Stadia. I don't want to pay $10 a month for a service I'm not using. And I'm like, okay, well, what games have you bought? Well, none. I'm just playing the ones. You can buy games. You can just buy games and keep them. I don't need to keep my Pro thing going. And I'm like, yeah, if you buy Red Dead, you can play Red Dead for the rest of eternity without having to pay your $10 a month. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And these are people that own Stadia. They bought the founder's kit. They have the thing in their hands, and they did not know that. So yeah, there's if those are people that have the product, don't even know. People that don't have the product definitely don't know. So there needs to be some more marketing done in that instance.
I 100% agree with you, but I do want to I want to say that they need to separate Stadia Pro from that thing. Because so you were talking about, I love the idea of discounting a super popular, super highly anticipated game in order to get people to try it out on that particular platform. I think that that's a brilliant idea, and probably better than the free thing, because people would think that free means that there's some kind of catch later.
Right.
Whereas if you're paying money, people are like, okay, it's just cheaper on Stadia. So they need to do that with a game. We'll say Far Cry 6 or something. So get Far Cry 6 for $30, and then say afterwards, no subscription needed. Don't even mention Stadia Pro. Stadia Pro can be some other thing elsewhere, but no subscription needed. Just eat that cost. Look, Microsoft and Sony, they eat that cost of their consoles all the time. They are losing money every single time that they sell a console. They are losing money because it costs them more to make it than they sell it for. But they make up that money on selling the games. I think that Google needs to do something very, very similar and just eat the cost. And I know they're already eating costs, right? But I think they just need to eat that cost to get people to buy in for the first time and understand that there is no subscription that is required. I think that that's huge. And it would be even better if instead of Far Cry 6, if it were a very highly anticipated and multi-platform with cross-play multiplayer game. I think that would be really, really huge and really big, and it would be great for Stadia. So Google, hopefully you're listening. Let's move on. We got some more super chats coming in. Ruben DeGeeling, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. They said we need to continue Lloyd's new camera fund. And you know, Lloyd, I think your camera looks great. I don't know why everybody's so mean to you, but I'm just kidding. Yeah, hey, thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Ryan became a member, so thank you very much for that. And Frank Simser sent in a super chat. They said, with a couple of these games like Madden now having been announced as coming later with the Series X/PS5 versions, do you think they may be developed and waiting for Gen 2 hardware? I think that that's perfectly possible, but when they showed off Madden as a game that was on its way, I believe, and maybe I'm remembering wrong, that they listed Stadia alongside the current gen platforms, and then they said next gen platforms, Xbox Series X and PS5, they were listed separately as release dates. Am I correct in that?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. However, I do think that we'll probably end up getting, and this is just spitballing on my part, I do think that it is possible that Madden will come to Stadia, and then sometime next year or something like that, the next one will be, so Madden's a game that comes out every year, right? So this year we're getting Madden 2K20 next, or is it 21?
Yes.
Okay.
21 now.
Yeah. So 2K21, and then next year we'll be getting Madden 2K22. I anticipate that when that game comes out, it will be the next gen version. Launching the next gen version on Stadia this time around, it's kind of tough because development started a while ago, and they're using an older engine. You have to remember, although I heard not good things about Madden because it's just the same game every year, but what a huge surprise that is. Anyway. Thank you for the super chat. Anything to add before we move on to the last super chat?
Nope.
All right. Ruben also, he sends in lots of messages. Thank you very much, Ruben. He sent in one more. He said, we're now 9 months into Stadia. What has been your biggest disappointment so far? Oh, that's a great question.
I got a disappointment.
Go ahead.
That we know of so many features that are coming, but we don't know when they are coming. So every week we have to keep wondering, is this going to be the week that a game comes out that supports crowd play or or streaming or whatever? Having a roadmap or some other source of information that lets us know that this is coming on this date or that date would take a lot of the negative conversations that are happening out there away from Stadia.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest disappointment so far, and I'm swiping through my my games. I completely agree with what you're saying, Lloyd. Yes, we want to know the roadmap. We want to know when things are happening. It would be amazing if we knew when things were happening, but you know, obviously with COVID, it's slows things down. So if they had made these announcements, then a lot of times these announcements would have been delayed anyway. So I can understand why they're hesitant to say things like that. I would say my biggest disappointment so far has been Wave Break, and not because it's a bad game. It's because it's just too hard for me. I'm just not good enough at this game in order to enjoy it. And everything else about that game, I really, really love. It's just too hard for me to enjoy. And that's too bad because I think that it had so much potential.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I love that game, but I was super surprised when it was like an M-rated title, and and you jump in and it's like all this like drug running and stuff, and I'm like, what? This could be a fun game for kids to jump into, but I guess not now with that rating on it.
Yeah. And then I said that was the last super chat, but this is the last super chat. This one is from Roman Stormborn. They said, love the show. So thank you very much to everybody,
awesome,
including Roman, who supports the show through that way or becoming members. You guys are amazing. We really do appreciate it. Let's wrap up the show. You can follow us on Twitter at StadiaCast. You can follow me on Twitter at RunJumpStomp, and you can follow Lloyd at Dasme. That's DASME. Join the StadiaCast Discord. There's a link in the description down below. If you are listening to this on your podcast, then just go to runjumpstomp.com and you can find the link there. And if you're already joining Discords, you can also join Lloyd's over at resd.tv. The music that you're about to hear is Subterranean Kamikaze by Zircon. The other music was all by Zircon as well. Check out their stuff at zirconstudios.bandcamp.com. Lloyd, I'll see you, man.
Yeah, see you, Bill. See everybody. Have a great week.
Bye. All right, we did it. We made a show. Save.
So everybody that is playing Windbound, did you play on storyteller mode or on survivalist mode? Because I think when I play it, I'm going to be playing on storyteller mode because I don't like hard games because I don't have enough time to play games and beat my head against the same problem time and time again. So I will. I'm probably just going to play on the storyteller mode. So you played on storyteller and it's still super hard. Oh my god, maybe that's not a game for me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't pick it up. I wanted to, but I've got so much to play right now, and with the games that are coming later this month, as good as Windbound looks to me, I don't think I would play it nearly as much as the other stuff that's coming.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I love games like this, but not like difficult ones where you die immediately when you get into a battle or you're too hungry so you fall over after 5 minutes of leaving camp. I don't like games like that, so I'm gonna have to look a little bit more into Windbound. I may be refunding it before I even play it, if that's going to be the case, but we'll have to see.
Ruben in chat says, no reviewed codes, guys? We don't get reviewed codes for every game, and we certainly don't think that we are entitled to review codes. When we appreciate it when they give us review codes, but when it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's not a big deal, and we're not upset.
Yeah, that's not a game that I went and sought. I didn't go seek out any of the PR people or whatever. It was just a game that I wanted to pick up because I feel that if I get a review code, then I have to play it, and it has to be like my mainline game, and I have to give it enough of a go so that I can talk about it. This is a game that I thought would be awesome to just kind of have in the background that I would use as a palate cleanser between other games that I'm playing. So that's also another reason why I didn't look into that.
Consino wants to know how long before we get 8,000 subs. I don't know. It's kind of slowed down recently. So if you want to help us out, just make sure you tell people about us.
Mm-hmm.
Kodiak Moonwolf says, side question. As people in Discord asked Bill and Lloyd, do you want to come to Stone Garden or whatever it's called in ESO sometime if we find a tank, or have you already done it? I have not done it, so I'm all for it, but I don't think I'm all for it right now. Or are they asking about right now? Because I got to edit the show.
I don't think it's right now, but maybe. I think I did that yesterday, I believe, after the trials we ran that one. I think that's the new one, if I remember. I don't remember names very well. I'm very bad with names. And I think Stone Garden was the one they wanted us to do, and I think that was the one that was a trial, or a pledge from 2 days prior or whatever.
Gotcha. All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm all for it. So somebody in our Discord wants Lloyd and Kodiak and myself and a tank who have not done Stone Garden, and then Lloyd went and did it. But they want us to run through it and stream it so people can see us die over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. I need to run pledges. I need to get enough keys to get my I haven't completed a monster set yet, and I'm super disappointed about that. I always get the wrong item, so I need to focus on that. I need to get my actual item that I need, and then I'll be ready to upgrade it and do all that fun stuff.
I completed my monster set, but I have it on the wrong I don't know what the wrong extra setting at the end. Like, it's not divines, so I need to transmute it. And I transmuted like 3 things yesterday, and I'm 3 transmute crystals away from being able to transmute my shoulders. So because I was hitting the cap. I had 198 transmute crystals, or 197, I think. So I had to go spend them.
I got my last one that I needed to transmute the last of my my main set. So I have divines on everything, and then I have the one monster set piece that I have. It has divines on it. It dropped with that, so super lucky. And then I just need to find the shoulders in a random box, and I'm hopeful, but I'll probably have to transmute that down the road, I'm sure.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, Lloyd, are you doing anything later today that people need to know about? Or are you taking off?
I have some real life work to do, and it seems like who's it? The Famous is doing a Hellraw Citadel run at 2:00 that they want me to come to. I may do that, but I probably won't stream it if we ended up doing it.
All right.
I also want to do a first look of Windbound if the reading the reviews doesn't scare me away.
Yeah, I get you. All right, everybody. Before you take off, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop into our community Discord. There's a link in the description down below. There is a channel that is just for members. I think I'm going to play some golf. I'm going to play one round of golf, and members are welcome to join me in there. Again, that's in our the link in the description down below. Just go down there, and then if you're a member, you make sure your Discord and stuff are all linked up. And I think I'm going to go play one round of golf before I edit the show, because that only takes about 20 minutes or so. All right. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Lloyd, I'll see you next time, man.
Yep. We'll see you, Bill. See you, everybody. Thanks for coming out. This was a fun show.
Bye.